Hey guys, what is up and welcome to my channel. It's a Hardback Life. My name is Jordan and today I'm going to be bringing you my April TBR. Now, I haven't done a TBR in like 3 or 4 months. The last one I did was like back in December? Yeah, December. And that was because I was doing a TBR for a readathon I was participating in called the Reindeer Readathon. Shout out to Eric from Break Even Books who ran the whole thing and hosted it. He did a great job. It was my first time participating in that, and I will continue doing so because I had so much fun. But anyway, yeah, the last one I did was back in December, and I haven't done one this whole entire year so far because I've just been mood reading. And I honestly have been reading maybe 5 or 6 books at a time because, I don't know, lately I've been kind of bored. Well, not bored, I just need multiple books to read at the same time. So if I do get bored or I don't like something that's happening in one book, I can switch to the other book. And I guess that's what TBRs are for, kind of, because they give you the option of switching to books. But at the same time, it's like you're being tied down to a certain list of books that you kind of have to read because it's within your TBR. And that's kind of why I didn't do a TBR, because I just didn't want to be tied down to a certain amount of books each month. But I also missed the challenge of completing those books. So that's why I'm doing one again now. And then I'm hopefully going to continue doing them because I do like doing TBR videos. They are fun. Anyway, you guys, let's get started with the books for this TBR. The first book I want to show you is Kingdom of Thorns and Shadows. This book is by my friend Trinity Matthews. This is her first book, and this is the first book in, I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or a duology or whatever. I just know it's going to be a series, and the next book is probably going to come out next year. I'm not sure. But this is about a girl named Farah, who is a white witch and also the princess. And her family is just, living their royal lives until the Dark Warlock King, who is their enemy, descends upon the castle with his army and just does like a massive takeover, slaughtering like almost everyone or capturing people, and also unfortunately slaughters Farah's parents. And Farah has to get out, and so she somehow is able to flee because her servants, I've already started reading this, but yeah, basically her servants that love her obviously get her to safety, and once she flees the castle and the Dark Warlock King takes over, he plunges the world into darkness, and Farah makes it her life's mission to ultimately destroy the king and obviously avenge her family and take back her throne. And that sounds very epic, doesn't it? Now, it's a romance fantasy, adult romance fantasy. This one's a short one. It's 257 pages that I saw. I'm not done with it. I'm like on page 132. But I will give my review, and it will be an honest review because obviously you want reviews to be honest, and yeah. I'm excited to finish this book, and also there is going to be a second book. I just don't know when it's going to come out. As soon as I finish this one, though, I will bug my friend continuously because I am enjoying the story and the characters a lot, and the magic system too. The next book I want to talk about is Crush. Crush is the sequel to Crave, and this is basically a Twilight book. It's like Twilight because there's vampires, it's a school setting, but better, my friends. This is a lot better than Twilight. This is about a girl named Grace who unfortunately has to move from California to Alaska to be with her remaining relatives, which is her uncle and her cousin. Her uncle runs a boarding school called Katmere Academy. And when Grace gets there, weird stuff starts to happen. Mainly supernatural stuff. And she does not put it together until things go wrong. I really enjoyed the first book. There was a lot of world building and character building. And when the story really took off and things just went out of control for the main character, oh, it was amazing. And the ending of the first book was so good, made me want to pick up the second one. And then I have the rest of the series behind me. I'm a little nervous though, because something happens in this book, at least from what I've heard, that a lot of people don't like. And yeah, that makes me nervous. I'm about almost 200 pages into this. I started it last month. So I'm a little nervous, like I said. Anyway, this is Crush by Tracy Wolff. I'm excited to finish it. And by the way, look at it. It's a chunker. I think it's almost 700 pages. The next book I want to talk about is Daisy Jones in the Sixth. This is about a girl named Daisy Jones who wants to be a rock star, singer essentially, so bad. And she meets this group of guys at a party, and she ultimately ends up starting a band with them. And this book chronicles their life as when they get together, and then basically their life as a band to when they break up. And I think this is told in mixed media format. And yeah, I heard that the audiobook is one of the best ways to go in reading this. So that's what I'm going to do, because I already bought the audiobook on Audible. And I'm super excited to read this. It's also a television show, so I'll be watching that right after I read this. I'm just also really nervous about this one because I really want to like it. A lot of people love this book, and there are those few that don't. I don't want to be part of those few that don't. So, here's hoping. Okay, the next two books are by the same author. One of them I'm buddy reading with a friend, and the other one I'm just going to read for myself. And that first one I'm going to read for myself is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is a historical fiction, that's what she writes, about two sisters who are living during the one of the world wars, and they get separated, unfortunately. But when they get separated, obviously there's a lot of emotional stuff that they go through, and a lot of also awesome things from what I read in the synopsis that they do. And I just remember hearing that this book is going to be a tearjerker, so I need to be prepared. And you know me, I'm not afraid to cry when it comes to reading books, because I love feeling all the feels. And yeah, this is my first Kristen Hanna book, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And the second one is The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I don't know too much about this one. I just know it looks like it has like kind of fall vibes or something. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. And I'm buddy reading it with my friend Nathan. Oh, both of these books are Book of the Month copies, by the way. So I need to also read my Book of the Month copies because, boy, I have a lot of them I have not read. Okay, the next book is a book that I need to read in a hurry because the return date is the 16th of April. Because I bought it March 16th, and in order to get my money back, or in order to get my money back, I need to return it before the 16th of April. So I'm going to be reading it within these next few days. Or I can return it afterwards and get store credit. I might do that. But that book is the Atlas 6. This book is about a group of 6 people who are wanting to join the Alexandrian Society, which is a society that when you join it, you gain a lot of power and stuff like that. I don't know too much about this. All I know is that, other than that, is when you join the group, it comes at a cost. Your friends that you obviously trust, you probably won't trust them anymore because there's ounces of betrayal in here and stuff like that. So I'm also nervous about this one because a lot of people have had mixed reviews on this. Some people have loved it and some people have really hated it. So I'm hoping to like it so that when I go back to Barnes & Noble, I can just purchase the second book. Here's hoping. Okay, you guys, the next 2 books on my TBR are part of a series, and I honestly don't know what happened to the third book. It's somewhere around here. And that is, the book series is The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. My friend Kate from the Literary Apothecary is doing a read-along for this series. We started reading Eye of the World back in January. Then we read The Great Hunt in February. Then we read The Dragon Reborn in March. And now we're reading The Shadow Rising. And there's 14 books, so it's a 14-month long commitment. So I've committed to reading this series, and if somewhere along the line I don't like it, I think I'm just going to power through, because I might just still continue to like it. I'm enjoying my time reading the series right now, but you never know. I forgot about it, though, the read-along, for the first huge chunk of January. So I started the first book January 22nd, and I didn't finish it till February 8th. Then the same day, I started the second book, The Great Hunt, February 8th. Finished it the 22nd. And then the third book, I read all of March and into April because honestly, there were times I just wanted to put the third book down. And I'm glad I finished it because I ended up loving it. And so far, I'm on the 4th chapter of the 4th book. So, not much has happened. But there's actually, not much has happened. I can't say anything because it's the 4th book, like I said. But I have really been enjoying my time reading the Wheel of Time series. I'm not going to talk about what it's about and all that stuff because the book series is talked about to death on BookTube. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure by now you know what it's about. Anyway, this is Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan. Okay, the next book on my TBR is by my favorite author. And you know by now, because you've heard me talk about her a bajillion times. Cassandra Clare. This is Chain of Gold, which I've already read. I read it back in 2020 when it came out. And I loved it. It was a 5-star read. I'm in the middle of rereading it. I'm on page 162. And I just have been putting it off because I don't want this series to end. It's about a girl named Cordelia who comes to London because she's trying to win favor with, you know, people because of what her father has done. Well, at least he's what her father's been accused of. And when she's there, all kinds of crazy stuff happens. Like the fact that they haven't been visited much by demons in over 15 years. So a lot of the shadow hunters are kind of out of practice when it comes to demon hunting and all that jazz. And so when the demons descend upon the shadow hunters, they're not as prepared. And then a bunch of people get sick and die. And the shadow hunters have to stop everything to stop the demons and figure out who is behind all of this before even more chaos erupts. And I love this series so far. Like I said, I've only read the first book. By the way, it's also the sequel series to The Infernal Devices. The Infernal Devices was the first trilogy, and then this is about the kids of the main characters of The Infernal Devices. So, yeah, I love the first book, and I'm finally getting a chance, obviously, to read the second book because I was so stuck reading a bunch of other books last year because of buddy reads and then readathons, and yeah, it was frustrating. But I'm finally going to get a chance to read the second book, which is on the ground over there, after I finish this one. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 more books, so stay with me here. The next book I want to talk about is We Ride the Storm by Devin Madsen. This is the first book in a quartet series so far. I don't know if the 4th book was the final book, but this is the first book in the Reborn Empire, and it's about 3 main protagonists. One of them is the princess, and she's basically a prisoner in her own kingdom. And then another character is being forced to fight in a war that he doesn't want to fight in. And then another character is basically hearing voices, and she doesn't want to hear those voices anymore. So she makes a bargain with someone to stop those voices, but she has to do something for them. And it evolves from there. Now, this series is Asian inspired. And so far, I'm like 88 pages in. I'm really enjoying this. It was actually originally self-published. And obviously, who is the... Orbit. Orbit picked this series up. And so far I'm loving it. And I don't know why more people have not been reading this series. Like, it's underrated. Is the Black Jewels series, Daughter of the Blood. The first one is Daughter of the Blood in the Black Jewels series. I don't know too much about this one. All I know is there's like a group of jewels, and each set of characters is like represents one of those jewels. Like, it goes with their power or the kind of people they are, and that's all I know. I just know I have to read it this month because one of my best friends who works at Barnes & Noble has been begging me to read it and just won't shut up about it. And he's gotten other coworkers of his to read it, so I guess I have to read it too. But I'm excited. It's a trilogy, so yeah. And the last book that I want to talk about is Deadbeat by Jim Butcher. This is the 7th book in the Dresden Files series. So the Dresden Files series is about a guy named Harry Dresden, who is a detective. And get this, he's also a wizard. A wizard who helps the police investigate cases that are connected to the supernatural. And a lot of the police think he's a crackpot until they see him in action, and then also when they get more exposed to the supernatural world. Now, this is a special time for me to be reading this because I've been putting this series off for quite some time, because I'll just tell you straight up, the sixth book, which is the previous book called Blood Rights, I read it in 2022, January of 2022 to be exact. I gave it a 2.5 to 3 stars because I just didn't like one of the storylines. And the reason I'm continuing the series is because I generally love the series, and the second half of the sixth book, Blood Rights, saved the series and the book for me, because honestly, I was going to DNF the series and just donate all my Dresden Files books. But I changed my mind after I finished the second half of Blood Rights. And I bought the 7th book, which is Deadbeats. I bought the 8th book, Proven Guilty. 9th book, White Knight, I think it's called. And the 10th book, which is called Small Favor. So, and there's 17 books in the series, by the way. So I have a lot to catch up on. Anyway, guys, that was my TBR video in a nutshell. Please like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me and get you notified when I post new content. Also, by the way, my 3-year anniversary for my time here on BookTube is April 20th, so I am planning on doing some sort of a cool video on that day. Just if you could give me some suggestions down below in the comments, or just post something on my bookstagram, that would be lovely, because I'm going to talk about that on bookstagram. Or even reach out to me on TikTok. I'll give you my TikTok info as well down below in the description. Alright, you guys. Have a great day. Bye.